guys, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim and this is Expedition 3 Pages. So I just wanted to go over some things that one thing that I've read in the first week of June and finished. I've been reading other stuff, but I haven't finished anything else yet. And also I wanted to kind of go over how I'm doing with my 40 by 40 because today's my birthday and I am going to be putting this up tomorrow, so it won't be my birthday tomorrow. It's the day before when I put this up. But essentially I just wanted to recap over my 40 books that I want to read by the time I'm 40, just see how I'm doing, see how on track I am or how not on track I am, and yeah, just do a bit of an update. So like I said, I only finished one book in this past week, and that was Olga Dies Dreaming by Xochitl Gonzalez. And yeah, I had very mixed feelings about this book. So you're following Olga mainly in the story, and although there are a couple of other perspectives as well, as you see from the perspective of her brother and the perspective of one of her kind of, not boyfriends, but one of her flings kind of thing. And yeah, a lot goes on in this book. I don't really know where to start with it. It's a very big social commentary on life for people from Puerto Rico in America, specifically from the point of view of Olga, who has grown up in a Puerto Rican family living in Brooklyn. There's also commentary on AIDS and how that has affected some characters and what that has meant. There's also commentary on homophobia, what that means with regards to stuff. There's also commentary on how rich white people treat others and how disregarding they can be of other people because of their very high privileged position. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff crammed into this book. I will say by the end of it, I was really interested and I definitely learned a lot about the situation between America and Puerto Rico, which I had no idea that if you were from Puerto Rico, you were American. But I really did find for the first half of the book, I found it a little bit, I don't want to say gimmicky, that's not the right thing, but it felt very, everything was there for a purpose to give an opinion. So it felt like a very surface level story because it was like, this is happening to this character because I want to make this point, and this is happening to this character because I want to make this other point. And it felt very surface level for me, and I wasn't enjoying it because of that. I would say that I struggled probably for the first half of the book, and then past 50%, I did start to enjoy the book a lot more, and I got a lot more out of the book. I felt like I did learn something from the book, and I was interested in what was going on with the characters. Yeah, it was an interesting one because I think it's important. I think it's got something important to say, and I think it said it got its point across very clearly. It's just that first half of the book was difficult to get through for me because I found it, like I say, very surface level, and I just wasn't interested in what was going on because of that. At the end of the day though, when I'd finished it, I was pleased that I'd read it. I did get something out of it, and I gave it 3.25 stars in the end. Oh, I also wanted to say that I did read this via audiobook, which was on Scribd, and I did find the audiobook really good. It was 3 different narrators, I believe, and I thought that they did a really good job, and I did really enjoy the audiobook. So yeah, that was a plus. I was also making my way through 2 other books last week. So the first one is Fashionopolis by Dana Thomas, and I've got to page 208. So that's going well. I'm enjoying that and learning a lot out of this as well. Learning a lot out of this, getting a lot out of this as well. And the other book that I was concentrating on was Hour of the Wolf, which I'm reading on ebook. And yeah, I'm finding that good. A bit disjointed, but I don't know if disjointed is the right word. I find there's so many characters, but when you read each individual chapter, it is really interesting, but I'm finding it hard to kind of piece everyone together and get a coherent story out of it. I am enjoying it, and I can't remember how far into it I am at the moment. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, I'm 41% of the way through that at the moment, so that's going well. Okay, so 40 by 40, let's work out how I'm doing. So I've read 7 books, which I think is pretty good. However, they're not the largest books on my 40 by 40 list. Some of them are pretty big fantasy books. So I have read one pretty big fantasy book from the list, but there are more left. Okay, I finished Rebecca, which I buddy readed with Amy, and absolutely loved that. I gave that 4.5 stars. I've also finished The Final Empire, and I gave that 4.25 stars, so that was going well. I read Imago, which is the last book in the Lilith's Brood series, written by Octavia E. Butler, and that wraps up a whole trilogy, which I was really pleased about, and absolutely loved that trilogy. I think I gave Imago 4 stars in the end, but I think it was a good wrap up. That whole series is just wonderful. Highly recommend that series. Xenogenesis series, I think it's called. Yeah, it's really, really good. It's really good. The Time Machine I read by H.G. Wells. I did give it 4 stars when I look back to see what I gave it. But I feel like that's more of a critical review. Like, I have read 2 of H.G. Wells' books so far. I've read this one, and I've also read The War of the Worlds, and I absolutely love that, The War of the Worlds. The Time Machine was just as captivating as, you know, as the other book that I read. But yeah, it was questionable as well. It was really questionable. It was definitely through the lens of the white man perspective, where sitting on their high perch, so essentially the Time Machine is about a scientist that makes a time machine and goes forward in time. He goes quite far into the future. And when he gets to this really far future, he uses knowledge from his present day to try and work out why things are the way they are in this future. And you can feel it steeped in the prejudices of the time. And it's kind of an interesting book. It's an interesting book to read from that perspective, because you can see all the flaws in the way that this scientist thinks, and it's so typical of like the white man going to a new place and deciding what has happened and what's going on and what the answers are, even though like he doesn't know anything. I will say he does say, oh, I think this, but it turned out I was wrong, and I thought this, but this was wrong. And, you know, I can't really remember all of my thoughts at this point, but I do remember thinking this is a really interesting book to read, because he's so completely deluded about things, and he's so fixated in his very, very narrow mindset that he's very limiting himself. I read it at a similar time to reading North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell, and I think both of those books are written around the same time. And North and South is very much about the rich and the poor, and it goes into a lot of social commentary about that time. Yeah, so I think North and South was a lot more nuanced than The Time Machine, and it was just interesting to read them around the same kind of time to get that comparison. Yeah, so I did give it 4 stars, but my memory of it isn't 4 stars, if you know what I mean. I feel like my rating has decreased over time, and I'm not sure why I gave it that in the first place. I did, however, like the ending. It went really, really far into the Earth's future, and I found that really interesting to think about. So I did like that bit. So maybe that's why I gave it 4 stars. Okay, moving on. Another book that I finished was Frost Heart 3. This also wrapped up a trilogy, and I absolutely love this. This is by Jamie Littler, and I really, really like this middle grade. I know it's very hyped, and I did enjoy the first book. I didn't love the first book. I thought it was good enough, and I was happy to pick up the second one. The second one made me cry. The third one was just a great wrap up to the whole story. Really emotional story, and really interesting and fast paced and all of that. I liked it a lot. And yeah, so I gave this one 5 stars. So this is top of the list so far from my 40 by 40 books. Absolutely loved it. And the like illustrations are stunning throughout. Like, Jamie Littler is so talented. Really, really talented person. Okay, next up is The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. This I read, I had such high hopes for it because I read Station 11 and absolutely loved it. This one, I gave it 4 stars as well, and I don't know why I gave it 4 stars, because I wasn't that interested in it at all. I can't even really remember much of what it's about now. It's just kind of gone a little bit. So yeah, maybe this is another one that I'd probably decrease my rating of. I think I probably gave it 4 stars because I thought it was really well written, because it was written like Station 11, it's just the story I wasn't that interested in. Anyway, so that was The Glass Hotel. Then finally, one that I read recently was Convenience Store Woman, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. So yeah, those are the books that I've read so far from my list, which means I have 33 left. I did a little page counting to work out how many pages I've read compared to what I'd started with, and work out if I'm behind or not. So the total number of pages for the whole list was 18,051. I have read so far 2,450, which doesn't sound very much. And so I have 15,601 left. And I worked it out, so today's my birthday. This next year is a leap year. So there's 366 days left. And so that means that I would have to keep on track. I would have to read an average of 42 pages a day, which is a lot of pages. When I first started this challenge, it was only 35 pages a day I had to read. So it's increased by 7 pages a day. So I'm really behind, is my point. But, you know, it's only 33 books. So I say it's only 33 books. I read about 50 books in a year, so I would basically have to read, majority of my reads would have to be these books to complete them by my birthday next year. So I'm going to have to up my ante quite a lot and get on with it if I want to complete this. This has gone to extreme challenge for me now. But aside from that kind of failure, I was pretty pleased with my ratings for the books. So although I have said that I wanted to drop 2 of them down, I would only drop them down to a 3. And so all the books so far have been like 3, 3.5 and above. So far it kind of indicates that I've been choosing books that I like as well. I kind of have chosen books for the list that I'm going to really like. So that has made me excited for the rest of them as well. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to share that little update with you and let you know that I'm behind. No surprises probably there. But I don't think I'm doing that badly. I've read 7 and I think that's pretty good. Anyway, yeah, so that's it for my little update for today, I think. I'm gonna head off because I'm really hot. I know I'm wearing a cardigan, but it's really, really warm today. It's like 27.5 degrees in my living room, so I'm gonna get the window open in a sec. But anyway, I would love to know how you guys are doing and how your last week of reading has gone. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna go and I will see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye.